The first Mortal Kombat film, which was released in 1995, was basically awesome. It was dumb, it was camp, and the acting and story sucked. But to 15-year-old Ian, that didn't matter. It was a Mortal Kombat film, yo, and it ruled. The second movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, was rubbish though, and pretty much killed off any chance of another movie being made. Then, out of the blue, an 8-minute movie called Mortal Kombat Rebirth popped up on the net, independently produced and with a super realistic and gritty style that mirrored the reboot feel of Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. But why would someone do a film like this off their own back? Here's the film's director, Kevin Tancharoen, to explain.
You know, and I bought all the games, and I just grew up thinking that I knew I wanted to do a live-action Mortal Kombat. I didn't ever think I would ever get the chance to do it. But I went ahead and did one on my own, and now we're here.
Jeri Ryan, famous for playing Robo-Totty 7 of 9 in Star Trek Voyager, was probably the most famous face to appear in the film. But why, Jeri? Why?
This was supposedly just something for Kevin to, sell Warner Brothers on his vision. And so we all just did it as a favor over a weekend, and he had some, borrowed equipment and used some of his own money to finish it, and literally made it in 2 days, and I wasn't expecting anything to come of it. I wasn't expecting to be much.
So you did it as a favor? Bonkers. So I guess then you must have been a little bit surprised how fast the film spread and how well it was received.
I mean, we all knew what it was for. We didn't think anybody would ever see it beyond, just Warner Brothers execs or whoever. We never expected it to get released and go viral. And then it just became this huge thing that sort of took on a life of its own.
The short exploded onto the net, and it wasn't long before it caught the attention of the game's makers, including Mortal Kombat's creator, Ed Boon. He and the executives at Warner Brothers must have been suitably impressed with Kevin's efforts, because it didn't take long for them to commission him to make a 9-part web series. Here's Mr. Boon himself. He's come to give us the lowdown on Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Everybody assumed it was us who was making it just because it was so well done and, professional, put together. And after a while, Kevin kind of surfaced and said, hey, this is kind of, I did it, and this is my resume. I really want to, direct a feature film. And he sold me on it. Certainly I was on board at that point. And then we started talking with him, and then the idea to do the Mortal Kombat Legacy short films came up. So it's a bunch, a number of different films like the Rebirth one that basically introduce each character, leading them up to the tournament. So when you watch them all, you kind of get an idea of, oh, okay, that's why these guys are here. And you buy the game, and that's kind of like, okay, this is what happened in the tournament.
So far, only 3 episodes of the action-packed Mortal Kombat Legacy series have been released. And like Rebirth, they attempt to give a real-world feel to the otherwise outlandish Mortal Kombat universe. Don't believe me? Back me up here, Jeri.
These first 2 episodes especially are very much more based in reality, much more sort of in the vein of the short that we did. The fantasy element comes into play with the later characters, but for these characters, it's very real world, and it's very dark, and it's very gritty.
This type of real world reimagining has worked wonders for the Batman franchise. Just look at the success of Batman Begins and Dark Knight compared to the utterly abysmal Batman Forever. Ugh, what a film. Ugh. Why does Kevin think this approach will work so well for Mortal Kombat, considering most movies based on games are proper pap?
If you don't take it seriously and you try to play up to the camp of video games, then it doesn't translate. I just don't think it translates well. And there was a time where comic book movies were treated as comic book movies, and were very cheesy. And that took a turn, and I felt like video game movies were not really getting the proper adaptation. And that deserved to take a turn as well.
Personally, I would absolutely love to see a proper feature-length Mortal Kombat film done in this style. But will it ever happen? We asked Michael Jai White, the actor who plays angry, metal-armed hero cop Jax, about his thoughts on doing a Mortal Kombat feature film.
I dare somebody to compare the web series to a movie right now. I think it stands up with any kind of film. But I mean, and it's done so with a fraction of the time and cost. So with a decent budget, we can kick ass.
So Michael is positive about it, but what about Jeri and Ed? Opinions, please!
If it's a season 2 of the web series, if it's a movie, whatever it is, I'm thrilled to be part of it.
His Mortal Kombat Rebirth video really shows that he can, give a contemporary 2011 or 12, vision of this thing that started in the 90s. You don't want to do something that's kind of dated in the 90s. I think his modern version would be a great movie.
I've watched all the available episodes so far, and although I feel they lack the true grit and dark atmosphere that Rebirth presented, I have still been really enjoying them, and I can't wait to see how the more bizarre characters are brought to life later on. There will be a new episode of Mortal Kombat Legacy every week for its 9-week run, and I'll be embedding them all onto the Platform32 Facebook page as soon as they are released, so make sure you pop along and check them out.